My name is Lily. This is my story about how my life changed very fast. I was living a simple life. Every day was much the same. I worked in a small coffee shop in my town. I made coffee for people and I cleaned tables. My town was quiet and I knew many people there. My life was not big or exciting, but it was my life. It was safe and calm. I had my small apartment and my few friends. I was 24 years old. One afternoon, the coffee shop was not very busy. I was standing near the counter when my phone rang. It was a number I did not know. I answered it. A man spoke. He said he was a lawyer. This was strange. I did not know any lawyers. Then he said something that made my heart stop. He said, "Are you Lily, daughter of Mary Smith?" I said yes. My mother's name was Mary Smith. She died a few years ago. The lawyer continued. He said, "I am calling about your father, Mr. Robert Sterling." I was very confused. My mother never spoke about my father. I did not know his name. The lawyer said Mr. Robert Sterling was the richest man in the city, the big city far away from my town. He told me that Mr. Sterling wanted to meet me. He said Mr. Sterling was my father. I could not believe it. It felt like a dream, but a strange and unbelievable dream. How could the richest man in the city be my father? My mother worked hard all her life. We did not have much money. This lawyer must be wrong. I told the lawyer I thought there was a mistake. He was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "There is no mistake, Lily. We have proof. Your father wants to meet you. He wants you to come to the city." He said he would send me a ticket for a plane. After the call finished, I stood in the coffee shop feeling lost. My quiet, simple life felt far away. This news was a shock. I felt scared. What did this mean? Why did my mother never tell me? Who was this man, Mr. Robert Sterling? The lawyer sent the plane ticket the next day. It was real. I looked at the ticket. I looked at my small apartment. I thought about my quiet life. I was very afraid to go to the big city and meet this unknown man. But I also knew I had to go. I needed to understand. I needed to know the truth about my father and my mother's secret. So I made my decision. I would go. My life was about to change completely. 2. The Big House and the Cold Woman. I arrived at the address the lawyer gave me. It was a long drive from the city center. Soon, I saw large, impressive gates. A long, tree-lined road led up to a house. The house was enormous, truly immense. It was made of beautiful white stone and looked like a building from old times, like a palace you might see in a history book. It had many, many windows and tall, heavy doors. Around the house was a beautiful, very large garden with green grass, tall trees, and colorful flowers everywhere. But despite the beauty, the size of the house felt overwhelming. It made me feel very small and out of place. It did not feel like a place where a person could simply live. It felt like a museum or a grand hotel, not a home. It felt distant, quiet, and profoundly unwelcoming to me. The very large front door opened slowly, making a soft sound. A woman stood in the doorway. She was strikingly beautiful, like someone you only see in fashion magazines. She had dark, shiny hair, perfect skin, and wore elegant, expensive clothes. But her face was serious, and her dark eyes held no warmth. They were completely cold. She just looked at me for a moment without smiling. "You must be Lily," she said. Her voice was smooth and calm, but like her eyes, it felt cold. I told her my name was Lily. She knew why I was there. She told me her name was Victoria. She was Mr. Sterling's wife. She was the wife of my father, Robert Sterling. In that moment, standing there in the large entrance hall, I understood my mother's place in his life. My mother was not his wife. Victoria was his wife, the woman who lived here in this enormous house with him. My mother was someone from his past, someone he knew a long time ago. This grand life, this big house, it all belonged to Victoria. Victoria continued to look at me with those cold, hard eyes. I could feel her strong dislike immediately. It was like a physical barrier between us. She did not say words of welcome. She did not offer me anything. She just stood there, her beautiful face showing only a clear, obvious hostility. It was very clear that she did not want me in her house or in her life. Her look was one of judgment and disapproval. She looked at me as if I was an intruder, someone who should not be there at all. Her coldness was powerful and made me feel unwanted from the very first second I met her. The air around her felt cold, and the big house felt even colder. 3. My half-brother's handsome friend. We sat down for dinner. The big table was long. There was a lot of food, but the room felt quiet. It was not a happy dinner. I sat with my father, Victoria, and another person. This person was my half-brother. His name was Ethan. He did not talk much. He looked at his food. He seemed like a quiet person, like me in my old life. I wanted to know about him, but it was hard to talk. The air felt heavy. Then someone else came to the table. This was Ethan's friend. His name was Daniel. He was tall. He had dark hair. His eyes were very bright. He had a strong face. When I saw him, I felt something different. He was handsome. He smiled a little when he sat down. He looked around the table. Then his eyes met my eyes. For a moment, it felt like only he and I were in the room. My heart beat a little faster. It was a strange feeling, but it felt good. It was like a spark. Daniel talked a little during dinner. His voice was clear and strong. I did not talk much, but I listened. Sometimes I looked at him. He seemed friendly. He seemed kind. He did not look at me like Victoria did. He looked at me like a person. I liked looking at him. I liked hearing his voice. The quiet dinner felt a little less difficult when he was there. After dinner, I went to my room. The big room still felt strange and not like home, but my mind was not on the room. My mind was on Daniel. I sat on the big bed. I closed my eyes. I could see his bright eyes. I could see his smile. I could remember the moment our eyes met. I felt that strange, new feeling inside me again. I thought about him for a long time. I thought about his face, his eyes, his voice. I could not stop thinking about Daniel. He was my half-brother's friend, but I felt a strong connection to him. This was new for me. I did not know what this feeling meant. I only knew that I wanted to see him again. I wanted to talk to him. My first night in the big house was difficult, but the thought of Daniel made it a little better. 4. The stepmother's scary words. Victoria asked me to come to her room. It was a very big room, filled with expensive things. It felt cold, even though it was a warm day outside. Victoria sat on a chair and looked at me with her cold eyes. I felt very small in the big room. She spoke slowly, every word clear and sharp. It felt like she was giving an order, not just talking. "You are here only because of the money," she said. Her voice was quiet but strong, like ice. "When Mr. Sterling is gone, you must not take anything from me, nothing at all." Then she put a paper on the table in front of me. It looked like a very important paper. "This is a legal document," she said. "You must sign it." I looked at the paper. There were many words I did not understand, but I saw some important ones. It said I must not take any of my father's money or things. It said I had no right to the Sterling family fortune. If I signed it, I would get nothing from my father's wealth in the future. My hands started to shake a little. I was very scared of Victoria. Her eyes watched me, waiting. She expected me to sign the paper immediately. But I thought about my mother. I thought about my simple life before coming to this big house. It was a hard life sometimes, but it was mine. This paper felt wrong. It felt like it wanted to take away more than just money. It wanted me to say that I was not my father's daughter. Not really. It wanted me to agree that I had no place here. Even though this house felt strange, I knew my father was my father. My mother told me stories about him when I was small, kind stories. I could not sign something that felt like a lie. I looked at the paper again. Then I looked at Victoria. My heart was beating fast. I felt scared. But I also felt a new feeling, like a quiet strength inside me. I knew I could not sign it. I cannot sign this," I said. My voice was quiet, but I tried to make it sound strong. Victoria's face changed. Her cold eyes became hard and angry. She did not expect me to say no. "You must sign it," she said again, her voice a little louder now. "You have no right here." I shook my head slowly. "No," I said again. "I cannot." I did not understand everything about this family, but I felt deep inside that something bad was happening. It was not just about money. It was about something else, something bigger and darker. I knew that signing this paper would be a big mistake. I felt that my fight in this house was just beginning. 5. Daniel's secret face. Daniel started coming to the big house very often. He visited many days each week. We spent a lot of time together, just the two of us. We talked for hours about many different things. He was a very good listener. He always paid attention to my words. He made me laugh with his stories and his jokes. He made me forget about the difficult situation in the big house. We often went outside together. We walked in the very big garden. The garden was a beautiful place. It had many kinds of flowers with bright colors and many tall trees. It was a quiet and peaceful place to be. When I was with Daniel in the garden, I felt happy and safe. My feelings for him became very strong very quickly. I started to really like him. I thought he was a kind, honest, and good person. I felt like I could trust him completely. He seemed so different from the cold people in the mansion. One evening after dinner, I decided to go to the library. It was a large room with many old books on the shelves from the floor to the ceiling. It was a quiet place to be alone with my thoughts. When I went inside, I saw Daniel. He was standing near a large wooden table, looking at some papers. He did not see me at first. I walked quietly towards him. As I got closer, I saw what he was holding in his hand. It was a letter. I knew the writing on the envelope immediately. My heart beat very fast. It was a letter from my mother. Why would Daniel have a letter from my mother? I felt a sudden, strong shock go through me. I stopped walking. I asked him, my voice quiet and a little shaky. "Daniel, what is that? Is that a letter from my mother?" He turned around very quickly. His face showed a lot of surprise. He also looked a little scared, or maybe nervous. He did not answer me right away. He just held the letter tightly in his hand. His eyes looked different than usual. They were not the kind open eyes I knew. This was a different look, a secret look I had not seen before. Then, slowly, he told me the truth. It was a very hard truth for me to hear. Victoria, my stepmother, asked him to do this. She paid him money. Victoria paid Daniel to watch me. She wanted him to follow me and listen to everything I said and did. She wanted him to tell her everything about me. He was working for Victoria. He was spying on me for her. The man I thought was kind and good was working for the cold woman who hated me. This was Daniel's secret face. It was a face connected to the secrets and lies of this big, strange house. All the happy moments we shared in the garden, all our talks, they felt like a lie. Now, this shocking discovery made me feel a deep sadness, confusion, and pain. I felt completely betrayed by the person I was starting to love. 6. I ran away. After I discovered Daniel was a spy for Victoria, my heart felt very heavy. It was a terrible feeling, like a sharp pain. I felt very sad and angry. I thought Daniel liked me, but it was not true. He was just watching me for money. The big house felt like a prison now. It was not a home. It felt full of lies and secrets. I could not stay there anymore, not for one more day. I wanted to leave the mansion and all the rich problems. I wanted to go back to my own simple life, the life I knew before everything changed. So, early the next morning, before the sun was fully up, I took my small bag. I did not have many things to take. I walked quietly out of the big house. The air was cool and still. I did not look back at the large building. I went straight to the train station. I bought a ticket for the first train going back to my hometown. I felt a little scared, but also a little free. I needed to be in a place that felt real and safe. When I arrived back in my town, it was a relief. My small apartment felt warm and familiar. I called my old boss at the coffee shop, and she was happy to give me my job back. Working there felt normal. I made coffee for people I knew, and I talked about simple things. This simple life was much better than the complicated, cold life at the mansion. I tried to forget about the rich family and the big secrets, but I saw Daniel soon after he came to my town. Every day he stood outside the coffee shop. He did not come inside. He just waited. He looked very unhappy and tired. He was always there when I looked out the window. He just watched. It was strange to see him so far from the big house. He waited for many days. Finally, I knew I had to talk to him. One afternoon, I finished my shift and walked outside. He was standing in his usual place near the old tree. I walked towards him. My hands felt cold. "Why are you here, Daniel?" I asked him. He looked at me with sad eyes. His voice was quiet. "Lily," he said, "I am here because I was wrong. I made a very big mistake working for Victoria. It was a bad choice." He looked down for a moment, but he said, looking up again, "I fell in love with you, Lily. When we were in the garden, when we talked, that was real for me, not a job." He took a step closer. "Please," he said softly, "please give me a chance. Let me try to show you that I love you." He waited for my answer, hope in his eyes. 7. The will is opened. Mr. Sterling became very sick. After a short time, the sad news came. He died. This meant we had to go back to the big house. It was time for the reading of his will. A will is a paper that says who will get a person's things and money after they are gone. I went back to the large house. It felt strange to walk through the big door again. Inside, the air was heavy and quiet. It was a tense feeling. Victoria was there. Her face was hard, showing anger and maybe some sadness. Ethan, my half-brother, was also in the room. He sat quietly and looked down a lot. He seemed nervous about what would happen. Daniel was there too. He looked serious. He did not look at me much, but when our eyes met for a second, there was no smile, only a serious look. The lawyer was already there. He sat at a large table with a paper in his hands. His face was very serious. We all sat down around the table. It was very quiet. The lawyer began to speak. He spoke about Mr. Sterling, about his life and his work. Then he started to read the will. These were the important words. Everyone listened very, very carefully. Nobody made a sound. The lawyer read about the big house, about all the different businesses, and about all the money Mr. Sterling had. He read who would receive these things. Then the lawyer said my name. He read from the will that Mr. Sterling left everything to me. All of it. The large house, all the many companies, all the money in the bank. It was a very big shock. I could not believe it. My father, the man I had only just met, chose to give everything he owned to me. For a few seconds, the room was completely silent. Nobody moved. Everyone looked shocked. Then Victoria made a very loud noise. She screamed. Her face turned red with anger. "No!" she shouted. "This is not right. This is not fair. This cannot be true." She stood up very quickly, hitting the table a little. Her hands were shaking with anger. Ethan looked up, his eyes wide with surprise. Daniel also looked surprised by the words in the will. The lawyer waited for Victoria to stop shouting. He was very calm. He said clearly, "The will is written here. It is very clear. Mr. Sterling wanted Lily to have everything he owned." Victoria continued to talk loudly, saying many angry words about me and about the will. But the paper was clear. It was true. I was the new owner of everything Mr. Sterling had. It was very difficult for me to understand this. My simple life, my old job, my small town, they felt very far away now. This new life, this huge fortune, was now mine. It felt like I was in a strange dream, but it was real. I just sat there, trying to breathe, listening to Victoria's loud, angry voice. The big house, the fortune, everything that belonged to Mr. Sterling was now mine. It was a moment that changed everything for me. Again. One moment, I felt like an outsider in this rich world. The next moment, I had everything they did. Victoria's anger filled the room, but the lawyer's words were final. The will was read, and my life was changed completely by just a few words on a piece of paper. 8. I choose my own life and love. Now I had everything. The big house, the companies, all the money. It was more than I could ever imagine. But I looked at it, and I did not feel happy. I remembered my simple life, the coffee shop, the quiet town. That life felt more real, more like me. I decided I did not want the complicated life of the rich. It was full of secrets and coldness. I talked to Victoria. She was not happy, but I made sure she had money. I gave her a large amount from the businesses so she could live well and be comfortable. It was enough for her to have her own good life. Then I made a big decision. I decided to sell the big house. It was beautiful, but it was not a home for me. I also decided to sell most of the companies. I did not need all that money. I just wanted a simple, peaceful life. Daniel was still with me. After the will was read, he stayed. He told me again and again that he loved me. He said he loved Lily, the girl from the coffee shop, not the rich woman. It was hard to forget he had spied on me, but I looked at him and I saw the man who walked with me in the garden, the man who made me laugh. Slowly, I started to trust him again. My heart told me he was telling the truth. We talked about the future. We did not want the big house or the many cars. We wanted something different. We decided to start a new life together, a simple life. We found a small, nice town, not the big city. We decided to open a little shop there. It would be our own business, something small and happy. One day, Daniel looked at me with his bright eyes. He asked me to marry him. He did not ask me because I was rich. He asked me because he loved me. Just me. I felt so happy. I knew this was the right choice. I said yes. I chose my own life, a simple one, and I chose my love, Daniel. We would build our future together, not with gold and houses, but with love and work in our small shop.